All right, I'm going to bring up Austin Branson, who is on staff here. He's the director of young adults and junior high here at Grace. He moved his family to Peoria from Budapest, Hungary this past summer. His wife Hannah and his son Asher are with him. And welcome, and maybe you can tell the folks a little bit about yourself and how God is working in your life here in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, thank you for that introduction. I'm glad to worship with you this morning. And I'd like to just share briefly a personal story of how God did a transformational work in my heart and in my life. And the story begins right after I graduated from college. I graduated in 2006, and after graduating, immediately went onto the mission field. Very young, wet behind the ears, but really excited about God's work to be done in Europe. But over a number of years serving in Budapest, around the age of 26, I entered into the season of spiritual apathy. This God that I had come to proclaim, I actually felt very disconnected from relationally. And sort of hindsight, looking back at that season of life, I realized that at that time, maybe one of the reasons why I felt so disconnected from God was that metaphorically, everything I did spiritually was on this countertop, preparing meals for others. But I myself actually never sat at the table to eat and enjoy the meal. And it was during that season of apathy that I was invited to a retreat for missionaries. And, my assumption is I'm going to go and I'm going to gather up some more ingredients and recipes for the countertop of doing, the countertop of preparation. But I found myself in a very different setting than I expected. Instead of that kind of focus, this retreat was an invitation to sit and linger in conversation with the person of Jesus at the table of his fellowship. And that week I was in prayer for long extended periods of time and in self-reflection and also looking into scriptures very deeply, and not for all these external purposes that I had become acquainted with in my countertop spirituality, but really for the sole purpose of connecting with my Jesus and having him transform me from within. And an amazing experience. I left that retreat with new perspective on relationally connecting with Jesus, and also new pathways and a new practice in life, so as to not just nurture the externals, but also nurture the internal things that God wanted to do in my heart as I connected with Jesus relationally. So a significant spiritual paradigm for me in all aspects of my life. Before that, I was just, going to the countertop of preparation. I don't know if any of you guys know the song, "There's a Hole in My Bucket, Dear Elijah, Dear Elijah." I sang that in elementary at some sort of farm musical. But the countertop spirituality was like living with holes in my bucket. I was just trying to fill it up as much as I could, and the bucket would just come down the bottom. I had really little to give. But as I was encountering the person of Jesus, and as I was growing to know him deeply and love him affectionately, he began to redeem the holes in my bucket. And instead of the should mentality of the countertop, I should do these things in the name of Christianity and for Jesus, even though I actually neglect relationship with him, I began to engage the world. I didn't stop engaging the world. I began to engage the world, but it was because I was compelled by relationship with the person of Jesus, being filled with him, seeing him work through me and overflow into others. A wonderful, wonderful discovery that only the Lord could bring me into. I discovered, and I'm still discovering, what a sweet privilege it is to know and to follow Jesus. And I'm so glad I could share that with you this morning. Thank you.